Welcome to the Amazon Web Services Cloud. Lift up your business. Start now. Start now.
What does it mean for Amazon Web Services?
Well, first of all, I think, there isn't a vertical today that's not making use of cloud one way or another, but each of those verticals comes with their unique, let's say, challenges. Yeah, and especially if you think about such a heavy regulated industry as energy, for us, it was really a learning phase as well to really understand how can we help our customers in the energy world to find architectures with, if they follow those architectural blueprints, they can be on good footing with the regulatory systems. And remember that we are not opposed to any regulatory requirements or anything. I mean, we all have the same goals, namely to protect our customers' businesses and their customers. Yeah, and as such, we really work together with the regulators to really understand how to translate something that is written in legalized wording. How does that translate into an architectural blueprint that our customers can use? And I think we've been rather successful, and I'm very fortunate that we have great customers here today as well that can tell you about how they are able to meet the requirements of their regulators.
So maybe we could ask Siemens, what does digital transformation in the energy sector mean to you?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us here. Looking at our industry, we have today millions, billions of intelligent devices that create a massive amount of data every day. And it can actually create a bridge from the real world to the virtual world. For us, digitalization means creating value out of this data. And it's not only a technology topic, but it also means understanding customer priority, customer needs better. It also means talking about new business models, and it also needs collaboration, both internal increased collaboration, external collaboration. So at the end, for us, it means that's a culture change.
We talk a little bit later about the hurdles some of your clients may see when they start with you, in collaborating with you. But at first, a question to you, Martin. What's the impulse, the first impulse for RWE to use the public cloud in Czechia, the Czech Republic?
I think for us it had been relatively simple because first we have to drive down the costs, so we want to consolidate, and if we want to consolidate and stay flexible, then public cloud or cloud in general is one of the options. So it's you want to decrease your complexity of your own environment at the same time as getting more flexibility in the whole process, and that's the major driving force. So for us, we are more simple and less customer-oriented, obviously, because we are the internal IT guys, but still we try to think about how to optimize ourselves, and very simple cost and flexibility.
It is starting definitely, but if you take a look on the digitization we see today, it's completely different from the last 30 years or so, because you can say, actually, and also CIOs telling us this to us, what are you talking about? We are digitized for 30 or 40 years, yeah? Launching computer systems or serving with tablets, but digitization today means that you really are engaged with your customers, that you are engaged with your partners, suppliers, all of us actually, and therefore the public cloud is very useful since you have the global scalability you don't have, for example, in your own data center. Yeah.
Let's have a closer look on the maturity grade of the market.
Well, the maturity, it's quite interesting. What we are seeing is that, especially in the utility sector, energy sector worldwide, that are around 50% of these companies are starting to digitize right now, or that they are in a very in a mature state. So this means we are at 85% who actually has still a lot to do in order to serve the customers with a new customer experience or create new business models, make use of operational data and not just, for example, selling more hardware. So it's also about predictive analytics and those kind of things. When you are actually taking a closer look on what the digital transformation in general has an impact on the energy sector, we see from CRISP actually 5 disruptive forces. On the one hand, it's the regulatory circumstances, but more important is the competition and also what the customer wants. So today, it is more important to be not reactive, but more proactive, or to try to make the market. Yeah? What we saw in the IT industry the last, let's say, 10 years, the cloud is 10 years now, we will also see in all the other industries, like the energy sector. So they have to make sure to give their customers a better customer experience, or to be aware of that new market entries maybe from internet companies can come. I mean, when you think about that, Tesla is also now producing batteries, that everyone can hang in its home to store the energy. This is actually something very interesting, because Tesla is actually an automotive company. So they're changing the automotive company, the automotive sector. Maybe they're also now changing or trying to change the energy sector. And when you also take a look on the end customer side, from an energy company, from a power supplier, they have much more choice today. There are internet platforms where they can see how to where they can consume energy more for a cheaper price, or where they can use smart metering technology. So my question to you is, who is actually from Germany or from Europe, DACH region, and is able to control your energy consumption at home with a mobile app or with a web application? But you are from the Netherlands, so this is...
In the Netherlands, actually, I'll have an example. That Essent, for example, has built those kind of apps.
Okay, but this is a provider, but no one is using those kind of technology. Or is it, are you? It's quite interesting, and we are here in Germany, so actually... we are always the new kids in town here in Germany, I have to say, to be a little bit provocative. But anyway, but on the other hand, when we take a look on the energy sector, on the market, and we did a study last year on the digital business readiness of German companies, and we also took a look on the energy sector. At least the companies, the decision makers are aware that they have to do something, and around 62% of the German utility companies identified that they have to make their IT infrastructure more cloudy. This means to cloudify, to make use of cloud infrastructure, and to see this as a very main part of their digital transformation, and also to extend the abilities to by the use of cloud services in the digital transformation, which is actually, I mean, this is a no-brainer for some reason, because from our opinion, cloud infrastructure is definitely the digital fundament you need to use to digitize your company, but also to but also to create new business models. You have to understand that digitization today is actually made in 2 ways. You have the static IT, you have the dynamic IT, and in this case, from a technology perspective, but you also have to think about how to give your customers more choice, or give them things into their hands they can make use of to, let's say, smart metering products, or to control their homes, or to see how their consumption is actually in real time.
Okay, René, thanks for the moment. So wonderful overview about the market and what you are going to expect in the next few years. Werner, from your point of view, so when you look back to the early days of Amazon, 1999 or 2000, what has changed since then, and how is infrastructure changing, especially in this energy sector?
Well, of course, if you look at sort of different there's different reasons to actually start making use of cloud. And I'll talk later on when I can get a few more custom examples. Is sometimes, I'll run ahead to my presentation, but for example, I mentioned Essent in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, the energy sector is deregulated, or deregulated in the sense that energy customers can pick the energy company they want to run with this year. Yeah, and as such, there suddenly is competition between energy companies. And it turns out that although price is important, it is actually the set of digital services that these energy companies are delivering to their customers that suddenly make the competitive differentiation between these companies. Yeah? And so, because pricing in general for most of these energy companies is sort of in a pretty small band. And as such, their customers are looking for which give me better mobile apps to actually control my temperature at home, or can I get better energy efficiency uses of my home? Can I better reporting? And not only on your mobile phone, because actually, if you have to look at your mobile phone to understand whether you're using the right amount of energy at this moment, that's sort of not a natural way of going about. Yeah? Especially if you also have to build it for other platforms. For example, a clock on the wall that just changes color from green to red according to the energy targets that you set yourself is a very intuitive way of actually changing behavior. Turning off some lights, maybe turning off the hairdryer or something like that. So we see many of these energy companies becoming very innovative in new interfaces towards customers to help them manage their energy consumption. And of course, if you want to do that, you do a lot of experimentation, because some of this stuff will work and some won't. And so the cloud is really good in allowing you to experiment at the lowest cost possible. If stuff doesn't work, you pull the plug, because you didn't invest $1 million in hardware before you could start doing that. So it really drives innovation to really serve towards, to really help you with a competitive differentiation.
Martin, what was the inciting incident for you in Czech?
Sorry,
what was the inciting incident for RWE in Czech Republic?
Yeah, I think for us it's definitely the market is changing. So we see the people on the side which is serving the customer looking for business models, looking for new products, looking for ways how to structure the company also. Yeah? So to focus more on renewables. You've probably heard about this split between the new co, old co in RWE, where basically the new company should be focusing on the stuff like renewable energies, retail and grid, and the old part, or the holding part, will be focused on the traditional generation and supply and trading, which means trading with the energy. So it means within the company there is a search for new businesses, new business models, new innovations, and we as internal IT have to support it, which means where we had, I don't know, tens of demands, now we have hundreds of demands, and we need to serve it with some kind of limited budget. So we need to serve a little bit more demand with same more restricted budget at the same time. So that's the key driver.
We're just discussing a little bit about the pros and cons of using the public cloud. You have it on your slide a little bit later, a few minutes later. But at first we have a closer look on the transformation of energy model from Amazon Web Services.
Instead of actually trumping our own horn, or whatever you want to call it, I just want to pick up a few customers in the energy space to sort of demonstrate why did they pick cloud and what's been the driver for them. So let's start off here with British Gas, absolutely the largest energy provider in the UK. And remarkably, British Gas actually prouds itself on being a very agile, fast-moving company. However, their traditional resource, the traditional data center world, didn't allow them to actually move that fast. And they were one of the first to sort of start moving over to the cloud and build a platform called Hive, on which they could actually build on the cloud and actually very quickly deliver new functionality towards their customers. And whether that was mobile apps or whether it was just indeed analytics, but it's a very customer-driven approach there. Haven Power sits in Ipswich in the UK as well, also an electricity provider, but focused really on more on the B2B segment. Yeah? And so for them, again, it was the ability to actually innovate really fast, deliver new services, deliver integration with small and medium businesses, and provide them with detailed insight into their energy usage was sort of what drove them. Talon is actually a really interesting customer. It's a customer in the US. It's one of the first independent energy companies there. And they moved to the cloud because of security. So first of all, they are subject to regulatory requirements and let's see if I get the things right. So they're subject to NRC, which is the Nuclear Regulatory Committee, as well as FERC, which is the Energy Regulatory Committee. And so they really wanted to beef up the security that they had in their own data centers. And they started realizing that actually the capabilities that AWS has in the cloud are far superior than what they would ever be able to achieve on-premise. And so their main motivation to move all of their control processes and billing and all the other interaction with their customers to the cloud has been security. And so we worked together with Haven Power and the regulatory committees to make sure that the regulatory committees were really educated and really understanding what the capabilities are in the cloud. And so next to sort of the security tools and things like that we have, CloudTrail plays an extremely important part. This is where you can audit every operation on each of your resources. And regulatory, and not actually just in, let's say, the energy world, but also in financial services, the regulatory bodies start to understand that actually the capabilities and the information they can get out of CloudTrail is far superior to what they ever would be able to get out of log files and things that were stored in servers in the older days. And so we see each and every one of these regulatory bodies slowly but surely becoming educated and understanding that actually these companies can get much better security in the cloud than they would ever be able to get on-premise. I just mentioned Essento as well. I mean, they're part of RWE. The Netherlands indeed is where these energy companies compete against each other with delivering digital services. And actually, Essent has probably been our customer for 7, 8 years already. It was one of the earliest customers we had in the Netherlands. And where really the things they started building on our platform was really building mobile apps which customers could control and get insight into energy in home. But they really built a complete innovation platform now because that's where they need to compete against other energy companies. Because that's the digital services is where the competition is. Well, we already talked about GE, so let's skip GE. I mean, indeed, instrumenting gas turbines, getting also Sinalytics back. It's well known, but we have Siemens here, so we don't need to talk about GE. Yeah, not only polite. Let's pick one other.
So Siemens has a market share of, I think, 25% worldwide in power generation.
Sure.
This is
okay, that's amazing.
Huge, and this is we will learn a little bit more.
So the last one here, although it's not electricity, but it's oil and gas. Again, Shell's been one of our oldest customers here in Europe, really starting off with, let's say, doing HPC in the cloud. Yeah, really, they had a traditional HPC environment that definitely didn't meet the needs of sort of the modern enterprise. Most of these HPC environments are very expensive, and as such, you need to load them up for 100% of the time, for a long period of time. And actually, you have to keep them around for 10 years because you have to pay them off. And after 2 years, these processors are already old. And so the cool thing about doing HPC in the cloud is that you always get your hands on the newest processors available to you. So for them, the first things they did was actually moving all of their HPC over to AWS. But now they're much further, moving all of their business processes and things like that over as well. So there's a wide variety of reasons why energy companies pick the cloud. But I think moving fast and being more and directly consumer-focused are two of the big driving factors.
So I think next year we can make an own summit about the energy cloud, the cloud usage of.
You know, we can do it for anything, whether it's energy, whether it's life sciences, whether it's pharma, whether it is financial services. Each of them almost can have a conference like this by itself.
Okay. So, Martin, a question to you. When you hear that other companies are using the AWS cloud, especially because of security reasons. Has this been a thought for you too at the beginning?
Yeah, I think this is one of the major concerns, particularly I would say in Germany or in this area. I mean, some people are laughing, but that's the way it is. And I would say there's a lot of legends circulating. Yeah? So I would say there's even a fashion which develops around the topic. So first it starts, you lose control, then you explain how you can control. Then it goes into more sophisticated, like, okay, how are we going to encrypt? Then the encryption is explained.
I have something for you if you want to start with your presentation.
Then we go into who holds the keys. Yeah? So we are now in the, I would say, in the area where we are explaining who's holding the keys. Interesting thing is that if we insist on holding the keys to be more secure, then we probably might lose all our company history very soon if we don't protect them state of the art. Yeah? So, which is what the people don't realize. So you might close down the company the very next day you lose your keys. So I think this is the major concern. And for us, as you said, I mean, we've seen. I mean, as you see, I mean, it's a chain of specialization. You've seen it with telcos. At the very beginning, people were building their own telecommunication networks. Now everybody's using it as a service. The same goes for computing. So first, we were able to centralize into our own data centers. Now specialists like Microsoft, AWS, whatever, came with their proposition first of infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and then sort of finally services on top of all this. And I think it's quite useful for us. I mean, it's useful to understand it. It's useful because there is a generation change behind it. So it's like in the old mainframe world, when the people were changing to the desktops, the old engineers were pissed off. So now the old engineers are pissed off because there are new developers for mobile applications. There are new developers for cloud coming, and they just don't speak the same language. So it's also, if we want to stay up to the date, we have to cannibalize ourselves to a certain extent.
Yeah. So let's have a closer look on the pros and cons of the usage of public cloud in your company, or especially in a broader way of, yeah.
The pros and cons, I would say security is one of the major things. So what you get with Amazon is...
Can you show us your slides?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is a little bit about AWS. So we are Czech Republic. We were allowed to go into the cloud, I would say, from the mother company, which is still considering whether they go or not and to which extent. So these are the major driving forces we've been talking about. I mean, we want to be obviously all modern, so there's this definition of what the buzzword digital might mean to everyone. And now the pros and cons. So I think fast availability of resources has been mentioned. Simplification of support process is a very important point. So at the point where we're doing different capacity planning, logistics behind it, because to add capacity meant we need to order licenses, hardware, process, install, etc. We have to plan lifecycle of renewal, etc. And this all comes as a given thing from Amazon. So it comes out of the box. No need for special planning. The same goes for security. So we are all managing our DMZ. We are all managing our IDP, so intrusion detection, protection. We are trying to be proactive on doing some behavioral analysis of our environment. And what Amazon is doing in this area is much more professional, and they have much broader scope of information to evaluate. So they get experience from around the globe, whereas we get the experience from being hacked either internally or externally just within our particular area. So it means if some pattern of attack is developing over days or weeks, then Amazon is definitely in front of us, because if we are not the primary target of the attack, then we know after a couple of weeks probably, and we are not prepared. I mean, yeah. So for us, this is a great advantage, and we get it sort of as a service included, plus all the Cloud Trail functionalities that you mentioned. We are not using it yet, but we are looking very strongly into that as a great benefit to what we. I mean, we would never be able to get that.
So maybe, Jan-Hendrik, maybe we may switch a little bit over to you. So what's the Siemens story in this usage of the cloud? Did you see the same cons at the beginning, or what was your starting point?
You want a full story?
Short story.
The Siemens story?
In energy.
We also have some slides, I guess. Right, I guess I need some more space. And as the room has been filling up, I wanted to kick it off with a short question to all of you to check a little bit the energy expertise. We are talking about power generation. What do you think? How many power plants do we have here in Berlin? Hands up, 1 finger to 10 fingers. How many power plants? There's some hands missing. Okay. Yeah, big variety from 3 to many. The right answer is actually 10. 10 power plants here in Berlin. Now, we talk concrete things here. Now, let's imagine Berlin Reuter West. That's a big power plant close to the airport. Old.
Which airport?
Berlin Airport. Yeah. So imagine this power plant. It's an old power plant, big power plant. It's a coal power plant. Imagine this power plant is getting out of control. Temperature is increasing, pressure is increasing, and you're an operator. You're an operator in the control room. And you see all the alarms in front of you flashing. You get hundreds of alarms an hour. And the question is, which one to tackle first? How to prioritize what to do? Or imagine you are the operator's boss or boss. And you might have to switch down the complete power plant, shut it down because of the alarming situation in these times of cost pressure, energy complexity. Now, don't panic. This is about control, and that's actually our business to make sure that such situations do not happen. As Siemens, we can provide the full range of equipment in the power plants. You see that behind me. But, very important thing, we also provide the control system. The system that automates and runs the power plant. It's actually the brain that keeps it all together. We're the market leader worldwide for that. As you mentioned, we have more than 3,000 systems installed worldwide in different kinds of power generation assets. And so you can imagine that every day, tons and tons and tons of data get produced in our assets. And at the same time, we have hundreds of smart engineers and some super smart engineers who can make sense of it and who have the domain knowledge. Now, what do we do out of this? And this is something new. We're actually combining the operating data, as I've described, together with engineering data, and we code the experience of our engineers into domain models, and we put it all in the cloud. By doing that, we can provide optimization services for our whole customer fleet. This is happening, but we don't stop there. We don't stop with analytics. We actually take it one step forward. We include prediction, and we give concrete recommendations to the customers. And we are actually, this is super exciting. I mean, we are pretty happy with the first proven results we see. Coming back to the operator in the control room, we've actually been able to increase the number of alarms up to 90%. And that means that by doing that, you can prioritize and you can maybe prevent a shutdown of a plant, which can be really expensive. So at the end, for us, it's about keeping control in the control room and not make it a panic room. So that's just one example. For sure, there's a lot more. Here you see all we do in the energy space and power generation is also based on the Siemens Sinalytics platform. many things to discuss. Would be too long for now. I'm very happy to take the chance later. I will be here and looking very forward to asking and answering challenging questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for the moment. So when you see all those approaches, hear those stories from all those different companies, could we say that we have this is a disruptive technology invented here and all in the market, and everybody has to use it now, or is there much reluctance still in the market?
Cloud is definitely disruptive, definitely. But I think the examples shows, and also the slide deck of Siemens shows that, for example, when a gas turbine is creating 25 gigabytes per day, this is huge. Yeah. So this is actually the most important thing to consider, I think. You have to store all those kind of things. You cannot store these in this gas turbine. You have to put it somewhere, and you have to put it on a very huge scalable storage. And it's the first thing. And then you also have to make use of this data. So you need really powerful analytics services. Maybe you also need machine learning services to create or to give to make use of this data. Because in the end, it's only raw data. It's only something you cannot actually use. So you have to make sure that you use it, that you create maybe new business models out of it, that you deliver these analytic data, as a predictive service maybe to your customer back, so that he can make use out of it. And this is actually part of this new digital customer experience everybody's talking about.
So normally when
it's interesting because the story from Shell goes there as well. Shell wants to drop sensors in each of their oil wells. And they generate a petabyte of data per year. They have 10,000 oil wells. Yeah? Before you know, Shell is becoming a storage company. Instead of that, they become an oil company. Yeah? And so, and it's also that I think many of these data sets, especially in the energy world, are sort of new data sets. Yeah, and so where it's much more of a big data approach, where there is sort of an incremental analytics. You change the analytic processes all the time for new algorithms that you think, for new efficiencies that you can determine. Instead of having to ship software to your customers, where they're stuck with that software for the coming 10 years, because that's often what we saw in the past. Yeah? Now you can continuously improve the analytics for your customers by building it as a cloud service.
So when you look at 10 years in front of us, the next 10 years in the energy sector, is there any company left with not using the AWS cloud?
Of course not.
Of course.
No, I think there's a few.
So but when you hear, excuse me, when you hear that some of his clients are reluctant in using the cloud out of the queue.
I mean that's not just unique, I think, for the energy sector. Also, some of the energy companies are pretty traditional and sort of more conservative in taking on new technologies. But I've learned that for all of this, it's all about education. Yeah, it's all about helping people understand what are the true capabilities of the cloud, what are the risks, and what are the non-risks, actually. Yeah, and of course, we've had from the early days, we had to deal with a lot of fear and uncertainty and doubt that was inserted into the market by the traditional players. To be honest, we still have to overcome some of these. Some of these messages have been stuck. The cloud is not secure, it's not reliable, it can't scale. Who would ever want to buy a service from a bookshop? Yeah, no, and all of those kind of things are sort of, that's just been stuck in the market, and I think but with each of those you can overcome them with education. The same goes for with regulators. Regulators is just a matter of educating, sitting around the table with your customers, with the regulator, and really making them understand what are the true capabilities. Yeah? I think there's a few things that we've been doing that are definitely helping out in the energy world, but actually most of the manufacturing and energy world. So our IoT platform, it's definitely the case. I mean, we're already talking about wind turbines that are being built as software, in essence. But every possible device, all the way from generation to transport to last mile to whatever is happening in the home, everything will be instrumented and everything will be generating data. On one hand, as sort of to be analyzed, but also there's many control points that you actually might want to automate. I mean, it's not the only industry where humans are actually the biggest risk factor. Even within AWS, I mean, we are trying to automate as much of our operations as possible, because as soon as humans need to interfere with the system becomes brittle. Yeah, and that's not what you. No, you want to move that as much away as. So, but to do that, you need to have the control points, you need to have the APIs, you need to have the instrumentation. And so, for example, our IoT platform and our mobile development platform really help our customers in this space to be able to achieve those goals.
So before we start in the last Q&A session with the audience, last question to Jan-Hendrik. How long did it take for Siemens to invent? Today it sounds like, hey, we use it since years, but it's a long turn to implement this cloud philosophy into the company, is it?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, we discussed it before. I think we've probably started the discussions in the 90s and in early 2000s. And I would say then Siemens, over the last 5 years, has taken extra effort to push digitalization. And the latest real cloud offerings, I would say, last 1-2 years. Yeah. It's a big cooperation.
So I think there's a birthday, nearly a birthday today, the AWS Summit in energizing the energy world with the cloud, with the public cloud. So now for you in the audience, are there any questions you would like to ask our panel participants? Is there anything you didn't understand, you want to see? So I may announce that we have every presentation, and I think we are going to publish them via the Twitter hashtag AWS Summit after this event, so they can download it and have a closer look on this, because there are some numbers in it. So maybe for you, it's very interesting what Chris is saying about the market and so on. We didn't want to go too deep now, and because have a limited time of 45 minutes. So are there any questions in there from your side? Yes, please. I come to you with the microphone, and I give you the microphone. Please say your name and then why you're here.
Yeah, my name is Lawrence Gruber. I'm here because my company asked me to go. And I have a question. Who owns the data that's generated by the power plants? Because it seems like Siemens can just take it from wherever and then sell it back to the providers or to the RWE who's using it. So who owns the data?
Can I just say something? From our perspective, the customers own the data. Yes, this is not us, it's them. And we have a number of customers that have built very interesting solutions such that their customers' data, only their customers have access to it, but not the intermediary like Siemens or like Kreger, for example, as well. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sure, and I guess we can ask Martin about it as the end customer. So for us, it's our customers as well.
Yeah. Until now, we thought we owned the data, but it's been confirmed that it's true. So. Yeah.
So we should ask Martin, are you using Sinalytics here in your power plants?
No.
Why not? Why not? No, just don't talk.
Okay.
So after this, we have a closer discussion between you both. Okay.
It's actually a common problem that many the build platforms on top of AWS have. You know, a great example was 2 years ago. We had a customer here on stage called Kreger, the ones that built these large cleaning machines. And so it's a true IoT environment. So they generate lots of data, but apparently Kreger has to rebid for those contracts every so often again. So the customers don't want Kreger to own the data. Yeah? Yet they do want to have Kreger software operating on that data. So Kreger had built a very innovative solution on top of AWS where their customers only had access to the data, but Kreger themselves couldn't touch the data. So that their customers could be assured that only they had access to it, not Kreger and not AWS.
One last question? Nope.
Maybe addition to this, because I think it's quite an interesting aspect. So if you analyze your on-premise environment, you find that very often you have no clue who is responsible for data quality. You find out that the people who are dealing with the data, like external consultants, etc., have not as managed access as they should have, etc. And this is actually one of the major reasons for us to adopt the AWS cloud, is that there is this super high degree of automation behind, so there is very little space for human interpretation in the whole process, and that's what we love about the whole thing. Yeah. So.
Okay. Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Cut in the moment because we have the next session now in a few minutes. And how many of you did have their meal meanwhile today, their lunch? 1, 2. So did you share your meal? Do you want to know how to share your meal? You're learning that in the next 5 minutes. So stay here in this room, and thanks for you. Thanks to the audience.